Hello there. So I'm going to share a neat little trick with you, a change in perspective or perception that might come in handy. And like the title of this is a bit of a giveaway, but it's that you are a Stargate, or the more truthful interpretation of that is you are a potential Stargate. And you'll see this written with people, not so much lately, but in older texts you'll see it written, where they'll say, there are men, there's man and then human, right? There are two, there's at least two beings going on here, but the biblical stuff's pretty explicit about this. But a lot of the Chinese stuff and different things, they talk about multiple beings, like at least two beings getting brought up, and so there's man and then there's human, and it's like man is a potential, you're a potential human, and this categorization, the eugenics thing came along a couple of 100 years ago, and it got a pretty bad taste in everyone's mouth, so no one wanted to talk about it anymore like that from an energetic point of view. But it's like not everyone is a human. Right, a human is a very specific thing. Actually, in the law books, a human is a very specific thing. You can tell that law, L-A-W, law, was written by men, because in the old law books, the definition of human, or a definition of a monster, is human. Or the definition of a human is a monster. So, if you consider yourself a human, not a man, you're technically a monster. That's an interesting one. But everyone is a potential Stargate. So maybe you are, or maybe you could be, but that's what's going on here along with everything else. And one way to explain this is from the magical point of view, like the ritual magic, occult science point of view. And the Buddha story plays into this as well very nicely. Of him sitting under the tree. It's that when you draw that pentagram with the circle on it on the ground, because you're going to invoke some thing that's going to come through and be caught in the circle, trapped, bound by your will, and you're going to get all this knowledge from it. You're going to command knowledge from it. Or maybe you're going to command something nefarious from it, because these beings are fairly amoral, and they're mercenaries, they'll do whatever for money, right? Those particular sort of beings. You have not drawn the magical circle with the glyphs on the ground. You've drawn it on your body. And that being is going to come through you, like for better or worse. And it's a bit of a secret. People don't really like, in the magical circles, people don't really like talking about it. I don't know why. I mean, it's a bit freaky for some people as well, because now it's like, someone asks you to open up a portal to send something away, where do you think you're opening that portal? Like, that's you. You're opening it up through you. So you're literally pulling the thing out of you and then putting it in the portal in you to be gone, back to void or whatever. So it's a bit tricky, but it's this idea of the story of Buddha touching the ground. Here come the naked women to tempt him. Here come the demons to threaten him. And he smiles and he touches the ground. He's not touching the ground. He's touching himself. He's going, yeah, like Hamish might be desiring all those naked women. Hamish might be scared of all of those demons. Apollo might be scared. Apollo wouldn't be scared, actually. But self isn't. Capital S self, like your true self. This is not tempted. This is not scared. And it's this spotting that separation point of saying, yeah, I'm not my physical body. I'm not my mental body. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my. You're not actually. You're not any of it. You're not even the stories that you've told yourself about yourself. You're not the stories other people have told you about how you behaved when you were 3 years old. No, it's actually, you're none of that, because you can disassociate yourself from that and pull yourself back and view that all from third person. So who are you actually? Who is that can pull back and view all that? Where does that come from? Well, that comes through the Stargate, because you are a portal to somewhere and something. And you can like open up portals within portals. You can dial different telephone numbers to go to different places. You can, but like the at the end of the day, you're a portal back to yourself. This is why the video game reference works very well, you know, with the person outside the game holding the controller, controlling the avatar or multiple avatars inside the game. Doesn't mean that's exactly what's going on here. It's a metaphor, and it's quite a handy one. It works very well with a lot of the stories about how people have energetically viewed what they feel is going on in here, or how they've been shown what's going on in here energetically, whether that's mushrooms, DMT, whatever. Ecstatic breath work. Same, near-death experiences. So now peep out the Stargate movie that they made the TV series from. There was a Stargate that was getting used for nefarious purposes, and so they obscured the telephone number so that no one could dial it accurately, and they buried it on Earth. You're made out of the material that the Earth is made out of. If you're sitting in a physical body at the moment, you are literally buried in Earth. If you're a spirit that has a soul, a sum total of experiences, sitting inside a human body, you are literally buried in Earth now. So, what are you then? Does that mean that actually underneath all the stories and all the things and what you are in here is you're actually just a Stargate? You're a portal back to who knows what? Maybe you should check that. Back to something, yeah. And there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stories. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of distraction. And it's all like distraction. When you use the word distraction, it feels like you're minimalizing it. Like you can't talk about someone's horrific trauma as a distraction. But the word distraction it's not minimalizing anything. But this trauma, this programming, these implants, these stories, whether you think they're beneficial stories or not, that's a lot of work that I do is like recreating or rewriting stories. And you might think that's fantasy, and okay, it's fantasy. People's bodies physically respond. People's energetics and their nervous system physically responds. I don't give a fuck if it's fantasy, it works. What is this place anyway? This whole thing's a fantasy, right? So if who we believe we are is based on these stories, then you can start to play with that. Then you can start to rewrite your story. Then you can start to manifest the life you wanted. Then you find it at another layer, a little bit deeper, and you go, so that means I'm not the beneficial stories either. I'm something behind that. As a wonderful person said to me today, beloved. Thank you, Nancy, for that term. It's very roomy. That's self with a capital S. Some people call it source. Not a big fan of that term myself. All that is, void, the mother. Beloved is good. Rumi was on it with that one. Beloved is great because that's how it feels. That's how, and I'm not saying that's how I feel when I connect with it, because I am it. Unless I'm imagining I'm not. Unless I think I'm Hamish. And then what a joke that is. But beloved is how my body feels when it connects to that. My physical body, my emotional body. Beloved is even how the persona of Hamish feels when it connects to that. Because the trick is you're never disconnected, and this is why I've said before, there's no such thing as disconnected. there's interference, there's white noise, there's distortion, there's distraction. But you can't be disconnected, because you can't be disconnected from it, because you are it. A knife can't cut itself. There is no disconnection. It's the shamanic hollow bone. It's a tube. You are a pipeline. You are just a Stargate portal back to beloved. That's what there is. And so you can't be disconnected from that. You can be distracted from it. You can be distracted by pain. You can be distracted by money. You could be distracted by wonderful holidays and amazing experiences. You could be distracted by physical pleasure. Hello, Twin Flame community. You can really be distracted from who you actually are. And who you are is not a story, it's not a tale, it's not a fantasy, it's self. And whatever this configuration is that you think you are in here, what you actually are is you're a portal. You're a Stargate back to self. And if you can go back and touch that, and people do, read some Rumi, people have, you could try it yourself if you haven't already, it's possible. You can go back and get a taste of it. This is the purple wave washing through the heart source. This is the 15-minute orgasm. This is the, you know, like it's bliss. It's pure. When you're totally unattached from the story, you're not going to think it's totally amazing and wonderful, and you're not going to think it's totally shit and death spiral. Neutral. People are like, oh, but neutral is like that's a Buddhist monk that just sits there like a rock doing nothing. No, the Zen people, the people who were on it, they were very clear about that. You're not just sitting like a rock. Your base neutral state is not rock. Your base neutral state is bliss, because you are beloved. Never disconnected, because you are it. You cannot be disconnected or connected. You are it. And so anything in your life, in your experience, in your surroundings, in this moment, that is not that, is either begging you to bring it in through that Stargate and show it and share it with them, or it's trying to distract you away from it. One or the other. Because there's that line in those old texts that say, I'm butchering it, it's a total paraphrase, but it's like, with an eloquent enough tongue, even the jinn can be convinced. There are demons that don't like being in hell. They can see your connection. They can see you are beloved on the other end of that portal. And some of them are shit scared of it and they're running in the other direction, and some of them are getting paid to distract you, paid energetically, to keep you away from yourself, to distract you, to do. But, like, secretly, they know they're made out of beloved as well. They're made out of love. They feel the yearning and the calling, even if it's like fire to them and distortion and it makes them feel ill. It's like poison. They still feel it. And there's still a part of them that's going, show me more of that. Can you bring more of that in? I'm not convinced yet, but I'm getting there. So yeah, use the fact that you are a Stargate to go back and touch base with capital S, true self, beloved. And then see about how you might bring that back into here to help disentangle a few of these beings around us that we're trying to pull off the fish hooks so we can get the fuck out of here. Yeah? Stop asking stupid questions. Do your fucking job. Much love.